Aussie beef is some of the best in the world. It's why Americans love it. But our farmers got a special mention in Donald Trump's tariff hit list today. It's disappointing for farmers like Fiona, whose very beef goes into the president's much-loved Big Macs.
From flooding rains in outback Queensland to Western Victoria's worst drought in almost 2 decades, cattle farmers like Fiona Conroy are in the trenches, and they're about to get deeper.
Surface water and dams are really low, and we're buying in feed, and I'm feeding out cattle every second day. So, we've got a lot of cost pressures on us as a business.
Fiona and Pat the dog work on 400 hectares on Victoria's Bellarine Peninsula. They couldn't be further from the White House, but Donald Trump's now coming after them.
They've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen.
It's still just hugely disappointing when we've had such a good relationship with the US for such a long time. We've had a free trade agreement, and free trade agreements don't involve tariffs.
Aussie farmers knew they'd be hit, just not how hard. The US president announcing a 10% tariff on beef imported from Australia, driving the price of Aussie meat in America up and so potentially demand down.
These tariffs are not unexpected, but let me be clear, they are totally unwarranted.
This is a bad day for our country, and it's not the treatment that Australians deserve, because we have a very trusted, long-standing and abiding relationship with the United States.
President Trump had been talking up today's unleashing on global trade as Liberation Day, pointing the finger at Australia.
Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say.
Australia banned US beef in 2003 because of the risk of mad cow disease.
He's only been in office for a few months. Are you worried?
For Trump, look, it's everybody got a tariff today. Who knows what will happen next week? It's a very volatile situation, but at a farm level, we can't control what President Trump is doing. We've just got to focus on what we do.
They could decide to buy more local product.
Agricultural market analyst Matt Dalgleish from AgWatchers.
And that could then have implications for how much they demand from Australia. So then we would have extra supply here that we would have to then look for alternative markets.
In short, the Big Mac in America is big business for cattle farmers here in Australia. Business that they could now lose that's worth billions of dollars.
As far as foreign customers of Australian beef go, the US is our biggest. Last year, our beef exports to America were worth $4.16 billion.
About 30% of our exports of beef go to the US.
Why do Americans love our beef so much?
I think it's good quality, it's the right price, and we have a really strong reputation in terms of traceability and biosecurity and animal welfare.
It's a curious move by a man who's always liked the humble hamburger.
Yeah, the Big Macs are great, the quarter pounder with cheese. I mean, it's great stuff.
And long endorsed the very franchise, which may now be forced to hike prices as a result.
I love McDonald's. I love jobs.
It's amazing. A big and tasty for just $1? How do you do it? What's your secret?
The burger meat that goes into America, a lot of it comes from Australia, and obviously McDonald's would be part of that.
Big Mac, can you tell me, why does Macca's in America like to use Aussie beef in this?
And it matches what they have in America. So in America, they have beef with a higher fat content, and they can buy lean beef from Australia and blend that in together.
In the patty?
In the patty.
Right,
so it makes a component of the patty. Unfortunately, if there's a tariff on it, those hamburgers are going to cost more for American consumers.
And how will that go down at America's Golden Arches, be it for locals or tourists?
It's not going to go down very well, to be honest with you. I reckon sales are going to drop substantially.
Regardless of if the tariffs work, it is still going to make everything more expensive.
This will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly.
Donald Trump has built his brand on bold decisions putting America first. So his senior trade counsellor has been touting since we met during the 2020 election campaign.
He's the one who's going to get fair trade for this country, preserve our manufacturing base, and stand up to China like Australia.
His trade war has already whacked tariffs on steel and aluminium, as well as products made in China. But this Trump called the big one, and it took effect 3 p.m. this afternoon.
There'll be exporters who've got boats on the water at the moment with containers with beef who will be really worrying about what that means for them.
We will stand up for Australia. We will continue to make the strongest case for these unjustified tariffs to be removed from our exporters.
Fiona's farm has been in the family for 50 years, and she won't be letting Donald Trump take that away.
We actually do it because we love it, and we love our cattle, and we're passionate about red meat and the future of the industry.
Senior Fellow at the United States Studies Centre, Bruce Wolpe, joins me now. Bruce, really nice to see you. Do you think President Trump realises his quarter pounders are at risk?
I think he's thought about it and discounted the beef. But I think this was for him the culmination of 5 decades of views as to what America's future should be, what its trading relationship should be. And I think this was the most powerful moment of his presidency. This was a big win today for President Trump.
You think it was a win?
I think it was a win because he successfully nailed his platform to the White House and the world.
And upset every ally he has in the world.
He is willing to take, it's possible a trade war causes economic dislocation in the United States, maybe a recession, maybe high interest rates. He's willing to take a hit in order to be faithful to his principles as to what he believes trade should be. And he's saying, I don't have to face the voters again. I'm going to make America strong again. And it is uncompromising, unyielding, and extremely powerful.
So let's look at Australia, because we've copped it here. We have this long-standing free trade agreement with America, which clearly means nothing.
Yes, I mean, that's what's so insulting about it. Australia is the model trading partner that Trump always wants. Trump never has enough, and so the prosecution is unrelenting.
Can you explain then the impact that the tariffs will have here? Because you can look at this and say, OK, well, if America isn't taking as much of our beef, that means there is more of it and prices come down. Happy days.
Perhaps. I think the larger question is, why not find more free trade? If Trump is getting rid of free trade, let's find more free trade opportunities. Maybe this is the time for like-minded countries who believe in the world trading system and economic liberalization and growth to get together and say, OK, Trump's doing this, but we're doing that. And I think
so you're almost suggesting that the world here calls his bluff and pushes back.
I think Australia will push back as hard as it can, respectfully, but hard, on what he's doing. But I think they'll find other opportunities with like-minded countries in Europe, Asia. Is there anything good in this for us? No.
Could you want to sugarcoat it just a little bit?
He is dismantling a system that has existed for 75 years.
So, I mean, it's not just us that he is punishing. He's punished most of America's allies here. Does he know what he's doing?
Yes, and he wants to do it.
So is Trump a visionary or is he delusional?
No, he's a visionary. I mean, he believes that it's better to make America stronger with its own manufacturing base than to continue with the status quo.
But your problem is, he's got this term, so Trump has 4 years. In 4 years' time, whoever comes in, you're banking on them to continue with tariffs, and who knows what the next president's going to do. So who's actually in America going to go and build factories?
If this is an economic failure, as far as what the lived experience of Americans is as we go through this, the Republicans will suffer major losses in the midterm elections next year for Congress and potentially in the presidential election. So no, I don't see this as an irrevocable course. But on the other hand, a year from now, if households say, you know, I'm doing better under Trump, it's working, I feel better, I'm more secure, then there is a payoff. But I think most people believe it's going to hurt.
So, I mean, the US has been our longest and strongest ally.
Since John Curtin.
So, I mean, so much for having each other's back. Where does this leave that relationship?
I think it is a real threat to the relationship and how people feel about it.
Yeah.
When there have been times of tension, the Vietnam War, the Iraq War, but it hasn't come to an existential choice: do we stay with the United States or not stay with the United States? We don't want to go there. But if in fact the pressures from him are so insistent that really there could be a loss of confidence among the Australian people as to where this relationship is going.
Is there anything Australia can do? I know there's talk of us going to the World Trade Organization, but
Yeah.
Trump doesn't give a toss about
No,
that.
he doesn't believe in the World Trade Organization or the World Health Organization or the United Nations or NATO. So no, he will pay no attention to that.
So we have an election in a month now,
Yes.
and Peter Dutton has come out saying he would have got a different outcome than the Prime Minister. Do you think that's true?
I don't think so. I mean, no country got an exemption.
It's like Trump is trying to shake up the world order here.
He is.
Talk of taking over Panama Canal, Gaza, Greenland, at one point seeming to blame Ukraine for Russia's invasion. What does the world look like at the end of his term in 3.5 years?
We don't know because we don't know if it's going to be successful. He said, I can solve Ukraine in 24 hours. Well, the 100th day will be later in April, and after 2,400 hours, that war is going to continue. He said, I have my idea for Gaza. We're going to have a Riviera in Gaza. Nonsense. And so he hasn't delivered on his foreign policy promises. So it's very hard to see or say what the world's going to be a year from now.
Does it scare you?
I'm not scared, but I sure as hell am concerned. I mean, this is a very worrisome development.
I think people just get a bit anxious when the rule book is completely thrown out.
It's true. And that's why Trump is sure he's going to deliver results. We'll see.
No one can predict how this is going to play out, but if you were a betting man, Bruce, how does it end?
I'm a terrible bettor.
Now's not the time to play it safe. Come on.
He is the divider in chief. I think people want the United States to be united. And so that's why I'm pessimistic as to where this is going.
All right, well, happy Liberation Day, as Trump would say. Appreciate your time, Bruce.
We'll celebrate, Ali. Thank you.